morning to you and welcome to another political time right here on Hills TV. This is Arena 36 plus 1. Arena 36 plus 1 is a political and current affairs probe show that is just to make sure that we discuss and we talk about what is happening in our polity, especially as it has to do with the 36 states or for Nigeria, plus the Federal Capital Territory, which is the plus 1. My name is Peace Ogenegbawe, and I will be your host on the probe show today. We go on this break, and when we come back, I'll let you know who our guest is and, of course, the topic of discuss on the program.
Arena 36 plus 1. Arena 36 plus 1. Arena 36 plus 1. Arena 36 plus 1.
Welcome back. This is Arena 36 plus 1, your political and current affairs program on Hills TV. Today we're going to be discussing something very, very interesting on Arena 36 plus 1. And of course, it will be coming from the topic, the unveiling of APC vice presidential candidate and matters arising. Well, to have this conversation with us today in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, with us in the studio. He's not the person than Barrister Che Oinatumba. You're welcome to the studio today.
Thank you, boss. It's a pleasure, and thank you, viewers, for making our time to be with Hill TV.
All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty of the discourse today. Let's start by asking you. There's been talks, about the Shettima as the candidate, the preferred candidate. Not forgetting that some documents that were made available was for the fact that before the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu decided to go for the choice of Shettima, about 7 names were given to him. We had some ladies in it, we had some women in the list, we had the former Bauchi State Governor Zulum also right there, and some other people, 5, we had 7 of them. But unfortunately, he removed, he swept that under the carpet and went for the choice of Shettima. What would be your own opinion about that choice?
Well, the choice was and is still clearly his. So they must have done their permutation. They must have checked where are the votes. That could have been what informed their decision. I still believe that it has nothing to do with religion affiliation of Shettima. It's a game of number, and democracy being what it is who is the first to get across 50.1% of the total votes cast and will have a spread into third of the states. So out of the 7, his team must have gone through all of them and see what is the political weight of these 6 other persons. What can they bring on board? So it goes beyond, he must be from a particular location. What are you bringing? Can you guarantee the party that you're bringing to the table 80% of the votes that will be cast in your locality?
Okay, so from what you're saying now, are you saying that the northern part of the country in the APC didn't have a viable, look at the religious part now, a viable Christian that could have brought that much amount of people, looking at the game of numbers, just like you said.
Now, looking at the game of numbers, in all fairness, yes, the Christians in the north are not as organized. They may be in the majority, but when they are now split along Ekwa, Cocking,
and all the religious ones.
So they are not as a homogeneous force, political force, like the northern Muslims, who are only split into the Shiite and the Sunni Muslims, despite the other smaller enclaves. So in terms of political strength and voting in line with interest, the northerners, the Muslims appear to be more politically correct than the Christian northerner, who also feels that he is marginalized and that his Christian brothers in the south are not crying their cries. So you see there are a lot of killings up north. The Christians in the south have not come up with a protest. People have died in Jos, Benue, even as close as Suleja here. What was the reaction of the Christian southerner? Unlike when a Muslim is killed in the south, you see opera, you see political statements being issued by Islamic leaders in the north. So it's not a question of don't they have. Can they get a Christian, or could they have gotten a Christian who will be able to mobilize these sentiments and get 80% or 65% of the votes that will be cast in the 19 northern states? That's the issue.
Now, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, who is the current national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, made a statement yesterday, and that statement cast our minds back to what happened in 1993. According to him, he said this is like a replica of the 1993. Of course, we know that Bola Ige of blessed memory was declared the president, after the 1993. Abiola. That's what I wanted to mention. MKO Abiola.
Now you've told us your age. You ain't old enough in that time. But we'll forgive you.
All right. But MKO Abiola was declared the president who never served Nigeria. Are we seeing a replica of that happening in 2000 and apparently 2023?
No.
That's 30 years after, because according to Adamu, it was a Muslim ticket.
Yeah.
And we know what happened at the end of the day. He wasn't given the opportunity.
Good.
And of course, the president at that time was from the south.
No.
MK Abiola is a southerner.
He wasn't the president. They were announcing him.
I'm talking about
presidential candidate.
As presidential candidate, it was a southerner who won the election, and of course, his vice president,
who was perceived
as the winner. And the vice presidential candidate was from the north. So
Baba Gana Kingibe.
Yes. So are we going to have a replica of that?
No. The dynamics are not the same. But what it has also gone to show is going to show the mental age of those driving APC. They are not in tune with reality. Now, in 1993, Hope. Before then, there has been a push for the military to leave. There have been activities pushing. At that time, Nigerians were ready for anything. If you can now go and read, how we participated. You discover that there were a series of disqualifications by IBB. IBB disqualified old brigades, gave room to new breed politicians. Now, among that new breed politicians, Abiola happens to be the most experienced. If you also go and check, see, there was a push. Nigerians were tired of the military. They were tired of being dribbled by IBB. So IBB kept doing Maradona. At the end of the day, he gave them only two parties, SDP and NRC. So you are now forced to choose between SDP and NRC. The push kept coming. Ogbonneyan had to step down for Lufalaye. So head or tail, it would have been a Yoruba thing. Because, no, he didn't step down that time. I'm sorry. The step down was towards 1999 to compensate for the loss of 1993. Now, at that time of 1993, the Hope 93 saga, Abiola was the most experienced among the younger generation politicians whom they called the new breed without greed. Tofa was an unknown quantity as it were at that time. Tofa was a businessman in Kano, but didn't have political strength on ground. He was busy doing his tissue and electoral business. And who did he pick? Sylvester Go, who was the then CBN governor of the defunct Biafra. So you see, when you look at the indices, the dynamics that were at play, there's no how Nigerians couldn't have voted the option or what was the best option available to them. And mind, at that time, Abiola, the pillar of sports in Africa, was everywhere. Before, Abiola was a weight that nobody could easily push aside. It's not the same thing in 2023. 2023, we've had series of things that have torn us apart. We are not together to push for a new Nigeria or a new government. Like the way Nigerians were seemingly together in the push to 2015 that got us to vote irrespective of religion, irrespective of where you come from. We just wanted Jonathan out. We wanted somebody that can stabilize the polity. Now we are at that same get situation that Nigerians want APC out. Because the things APC promised running towards 2015, they could not deliver. So Nigerians are tired. So with due respect to the national chairman of PDP, APC, the dynamics are not the same. So we can't get the same result. Right? Had they been Nigerians who are united, the way we were pushing the military out, would have said as a stopgap, anything we need now, we can make do with. Was what the stage Nigerians were in 1993, and they voted Abiola, despite the Muslim ticket. And mind you, as of that 1993, their religious differences, well, I don't share their sentiment of Islam or Christianity. So their religious differences have not been stretched. There have been many Boko Haram kidnapping based on religious lines. Bombs have not been blasted, have been exploding in Nigeria on religious lines. So for the optics, Muslim ticket is bad for those who feel that their Christian brothers have been marginalized, have been murdered on religious lines. So, Mr. Adamu, your position is not correct. It will not work the same way. Other dynamics will come to play. They may win, but they are not winning because Nigerians have overcome their fears of each other's religious idiosyncrasies. The dynamic that may play now may be population. Who has the numbers? Who is able to mobilize that number to come on election day? So if the North panther to these sentiments and now vote, doesn't mean that it's a replica of June 12 because the perimeters, the premises are not the same.
We're still looking at along the lines of the ethnic and religious divides that seem to be clouding our political space this period. Let's put in contrast, you know, the candidates of the All Progressives Congress, and we also have the candidature of the People's Democratic Party. For the People's Democratic Party, we have Abubakar Tinubu. Abubakar Atiku. Yes, who is also somewhat a strong force to be reckoned with, especially in the north, you know, and of course his running mate Okowa, which some people have seen as no force to be reckoned with, you know, as it were. Do you think that this, not leaving also the fact that we have the other parties, you know, we have the Labour Party, the NNPP, you know, and the Accord and every other one that has their presidential candidate and their vice presidential candidate. And all this candidature would seem like to share from this national cake called Nigeria come 2023. Do you think that the force, you know, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shettima would be a formidable force to really take hold of the reins of authority and power come 2023. Of course, we know that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, is hoping that they would be that force that he would hand over the reins of government to come 2023.
Political forces at least in Nigeria, has nothing to do with the individual. It's where do you come from? Does your party have structures in the areas where you come from? Let me give you an example. You mentioned them Okwa, who, as far as I'm concerned, is a failure as a governor. I've been to Delta State severally. I am highly disappointed that a state, an oil-producing state, can be this backward, poverty-stricken. Particularly, there's in Asaba, it's only Okpanam Road. Once you do Okpanam Road in Asaba, that's all. And the tributaries of Okpanam Road, the streets, are not that. I've been there severally. You now ask yourself, what is he bringing on board in terms of IQ? But because it is not about him, it's about his zone. So he was picked to curry favor and curry votes from the South. Not because he is a star performer. Because apart from him, he could have either gone to Enrique or the other man from Akwa Ibom. But they are now checking who is also more controllable. So no serious presidential candidate wants a vice that he'll be looking over his shoulders when he wants to sleep.
So do you think that the choice of Shettima for
yes,
Bola is controllable?
No, it is the issue of the numbers.
For APC is the issue of the numbers?
Both, no, and that's all parties are picking based on numbers. Okwa was chosen to get us South. They couldn't risk Southeast because of the unknown gunmen, they sit at home, the IPOP issue. Southeast cannot deliver 60% of the votes on election day because of uncertainty. So it's a bad business choice to invest politically in the Southeast come 2023. So nobody wants to go there. So they would rather go to the fringe and pick someone from South who claims to be Igbo and not too Igbo. So that is also get certain sentiments from the Southeast. But why he will now get the South about 60%. So it's just these permutations.
Now, this what you're talking about now is somewhat like the internal politics that is happening within the politics.
That's how they arrived at their choices.
That's why I said the internal
our Labour Party presidential candidate also did this. Initially, his first choice was Delo Kugbe, who also happens to be a Christian. Let's not get, he was the first. Labour Party was supposed to do Christian. Peter Obi, a Christian, chose Delo Kugbe, a Christian.
Of course, you knew it was a placeholder.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It could have also been a rough game taken too far by APC. Say, oh, so it's possible to do this.
But APC also had their own placeholder. Besides, we don't forget that Okukwe was actually his campaign manager.
No, I'm coming. What we are driving at is how the choice, what influenced the final choice was no. We can't do Christian. No, we need to get a Muslim so we can get some Muslim votes and balance whatever the Muslim presidential candidate of any of those other parties will have. So whether you like it or not, there will be some percentage of votes that will be cast based on religion, and they will now choose between these presidential candidates. This one, now our brother in faith, he's closer to my state. At least, even if the way inside him pass, will benefit from the dust and the noise. So at least they have like the shadow of the light will get into our compound. So he's our brother.
Can we actually remove the fact that Nigeria as a country cannot be separated from its religious belief and ethnic